I want to talk about the urban question. Now, a lot of people have remarked on the degeneracy of urbanites in urban areas and, their left-leaning proclivities and everything else. So why does this happen? Why are cities so degenerate and why are cities so left-wing? And one reason is, cities are degenerate and left-wing because they're costly. And in particular, the costs scale for families faster than they scale for, singles and childless people. And this leads cities to be filled, disproportionately with what Hoppe would call, let's say the proponents of non-family and kin-centered ideologies. But, as a general rule, opportunities scale in proportion to, let's say, the square of the number of people in an area. So the more people there are in an area, the more opportunities you have, let's say, for trade, for interaction, for other things. And so cities are extremely dense in opportunity. And so they attract people for the opportunity. But again, the costs of urban dwelling scale disproportionately for families and single people. So you have, and also cities are rich not only in opportunity, but in sensations. So they attract sensation seekers, degenerates, hedonists, materialists, consumerists. And so a lot of people go to cities for the opportunities, for the economic opportunities, and for other things, thinking they're going to get a good start in life. And cities are disproportionately attractive to, let's say, talented and capable people because of those opportunities. But a lot of people go to the cities for the opportunities, and then they get seduced by the sensations, and they get caught up in a sensation-seeking lifestyle. And so, because of the costs, they never start a family. And so, in that sense, cities are kind of dysgenic. I've heard one commentator describe them as dysgenic blenders that just suck up talent from the surrounding countryside and destroy it in hedonistic sensation-seeking and signaling. And so that's one problem with cities. But if you're talking about the kind of people who do find cities attractive long term, it's going to be, singles, gays. It's going to be, immigrants who are willing to pack into an apartment like sardines. And so you get all these different constituencies for leftist ideologies and leftist politics. And you get, because people rationalize their reproductive strategies. And if your reproductive strategy is, childless, hedonistic sensation seeking, in other words, an evolutionary dead end, then you're going to create an ideology around that to rationalize it. And so that's what people do. And that's why cities not only disproportionately attract people with those kind of ideologies, but cities actually breed and create those kind of ideologies. Because they create the conditions which require people to manufacture those ideologies to justify or to rationalize their behavior. And this happens disproportionately. Saylor has pointed out this happens disproportionately with cities that are geographically confined. So if the city's on an island or a peninsula or between the mountains and the sea, or is geographically confined in some way, this tendency is going to be more pronounced. And if a city's out in flat land, where it can continue to expand outward instead of upward, in other words, you can continue to make space for families in the suburbs or whatever, then this tendency is going to be attenuated. It's going to be less pronounced. But the geographically confined cities are definitely going to be blue cities. They're definitely going to be leftist cities. They're definitely going to be hives of degeneracy and hedonism and materialism and consumerism. So, the question is what to do about it. And so that's why I call this video the urban question, because I don't necessarily have all the answers. Smaller cities and smaller towns don't seem to be as prone to this, and so, maybe there's a threshold below which urbanization is acceptable. And especially now with, transportation being what it is, maybe if we had a larger number of smaller cities and towns, that could be almost as efficient as a few large ones, because we don't need that density of opportunity if we're interconnected via, let's say, the internet or rapid transportation. There's some stuff in the works like hyperloops, evacuated tube transport or whatever, that could revolutionize things, or even just high-speed rail, although that's incredibly expensive and maybe oversold in a lot of cases. So if you could link up a lot of smaller cities with still maintain ties to rural agrarian areas, maybe that would capture some of the efficiency gains or opportunity gains of urbanization without the degeneracy. But I really don't know. So I'm kind of just opening this question up and throwing it out to you guys. But the indisputable fact is that large cities, and particularly geographically confined, very dense large cities, are the source of most of our problems. They are the source of most of the toxic ideologies and toxic people that cause most of our problems. And so this is why there's a catchphrase going around on the right: crush the urbanite. Being representative or indicative of the urban-rural class war. And, on that spectrum, I guess you could say I'm kind of an urbanite. I have lived for most of my adult life in medium-sized cities, small to medium-sized cities. I do like some of the urban amenities and, culture. Some of it, not a lot of it. And I like the economic opportunity. But I grew up in the country, so I do have a lot of those rural sensibilities still. And I have a lot of, experience with rural life and rural skills. And, maybe kind of a more rural mindset than is typical. So, what do we do about the cities? They're hives of degeneracy, they're hives of leftism, they're hives of parasitism and consumption and self-destruction. And, that's probably unavoidably so. So cities are a problem. That's the urban question.